that we saw previously.
Yeah, well, Egypt was the first non-European country to win Youth World Championship in 2001. We won, which was here in Egypt. We won the championship. We were world champions. The youth teams have always been competing at the highest level. They always have been achieving the top places, fourth, fifth, third. We've achieved many of those in terms. It's always important to focus on the youth team because it's a good basis for the first team. The first team hasn't been doing so well for the past few years. We have been doing better in the start of this millennium in the early 2000s, and we're looking now to regain our position back in the top in the world. We were fourth in '99. We reached very good levels of handball. We have a very good team with very good quality players that play inside Egypt and outside Egypt. It's a mixture of the older, more experienced players and some of the players coming out of the youth teams. It's a very good mixture that I think will find harmony to re-achieve what Egypt has been always getting.
How do you personally feel, if you can share with us this? You've been rivalry, competition between Egypt and Germany in the Brazilian Championship. It looks very close. Like you mentioned, it was a tough match for both teams. In your feeling towards what you saw in this match, do you think Egypt is close to become one of the top?
Yeah, I'll have to take you to the match previous to that against Sweden.
Yes.
In the quarterfinals. We won that match because we played our style of handball, not the Swedish style. The Swedish coach is Stefan Olsson. He's been the best player in the world for like 10 years ago. He was shocked. He was amazed. He did not understand the word of what we were playing. Not a single tactic he was able to grasp. We won by 1 goal in the last minute, and it was a shock to the handball because the Swedish team, up until our game, never drawn a match, never lost, never won to less than five points. They were the first ranked. They were the title holders. So I think that's the kind of mentality we need, that it's achievable, that the Egyptian team is not far from the European teams, from the top teams. That's the kind of mentality we need to implement in the younger teams. So because the difference between the Egyptian team and the other teams is the mental edge or the mentality of the winning. That's, I think, what was the difference between the youth team and the other teams. But I think if that mentality goes with the players to the senior team, to the first team, I think that will be able to compete with the European teams.
So what you're saying is the mental skills for the youth is now developed more than what we see in the senior team.
Definitely, the skills of all Egyptian teams is undeniable. The Egyptian player is very skillful, is very talented. But it's always been the difference of the mentality, the difference of the edge.
Focus.
The European teams had better psychological preparation that always made the difference in the final minutes of the game. I think the youth teams now are beginning to shed light on that aspect of the sport. I think it's very important for the development of the game, and I think that's the right step forward. It's not about the physical part anymore. It's not about the preparation. It's about the mental toughness. It's about the psychological preparation now.
So what is the manager actually doing to prepare you mentally as a team? In another form of the question, what is he doing right?
Well, I think there has been some unorthodox methods that he's used. Like for example, he's made us watch some of the previous matches from the old matches, '99 and 2001, where the Egyptian teams could easily beat the European teams. Just to show that these people are not aliens, they're grown like us, and they showed some videos of skillful Egyptian players to show us how talented we are. He was able to convince us that our style of handball is very different from theirs. If we play their style, we lose. If we play our style, our pace, our tactics, we win. That's the whole point. And it's not just the game speech. I think it was very moving, very touching. It gave us a huge push for the win. that's the most important part. That's what got us there. I think that's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's exceptional.
Yeah.
Well, Kenzy, I'd like to ask you about your game against actually United States ranking 1, Amanda Sobhi. And before that, I'd like just to note that actually you're ranking 6 now as Egypt's women's squash. Yeah. Yeah. So would you tell me about your game with Amanda?
So Amanda plays number 1 for Harvard School. She just graduated last year, and she's, I think, one of the very few American women who achieved that much. I think even last month she was in one of the magazines that said the most influential. There's like this top 50 people in America, the top 50 most influential people, and she was on it. So I think she's a very unique person, and she's actually half Egyptian, and her dad used to play squash, and so he had a very big role in terms of giving her the basics and putting her in squash at a very young age. I used to beat Amanda before college, so all up to I actually played her in the World Junior Open under 19s a couple of years back, and right before I went to the US to study, and I always used to beat her. But then she went to Harvard, and I went to Trinity College, and we were not enemies, but we were like rivals, you know, like we had to play against each other all the time. So Amanda actually has a record. She hasn't lost any college matches all throughout her 4 years, and I've only lost to her in my 3.5 years in school. So I mean, it's been tough. You know, you're always losing to the same person, and there's this one person on college level in all of the US that you can't beat. But at the same time, last year, we ended up winning the teams event, because when I play for school, the main thing is not to play as an individual, but rather as a team. And so the team has 15 players, but only 9 play. And out of these 9 players, you need 5 wins. So we actually played Harvard in the final, and we ended up winning 5-4, which was extremely close. So I mean, I did lose as an individual spot. I took the 2nd in the US. But we did win the whole national championship in the US, so like my school was ranked number 1, Division 1 in the US. So I mean, it was a good result overall that we had won the whole thing, and I lost as individual. But she actually graduated now, so I'm ranked 1, and so maybe I'll play her, you know, when I graduate on the professional tour or something.
So right now you rank 1. Kenzy, actually you rank number 1 in terms of the United States colleges, number 6 in Egypt for women, and 31 internationally. But you keep on moving between 31, 27, 30, so on and so forth. Now, what determines this variation?
So there are so many factors that determine how often and how you improve in your ranking. But basically, it all comes down to how many tournaments you play per year and how well you do in each one of them. So you have an average. All your tournaments are average, and all your points are average. So it depends. You know, some people play 12 tournaments per year. Other people only play 5 or 6. And in my situation, because I'm studying, there's only so much class I can miss. There are only so many exams I can reschedule. So. I used to play, you know, when I had this rank of 27, I used to play about 8 to 10 tournaments per year. Right now I'm only playing about 5 to 6, so you can see like the huge difference between when I'm studying and when I'm not. Yes. And so the 5 to 6 tournaments, while I'm playing 5 to 6 tournaments, there are so many other players who are playing, you know, 12 to 15 tournaments. So it gets easier for them to improve their ranking. So this is all I'm hoping for. The second I graduate, I'm gonna, you know, have a plan on the calendar. I'm gonna start traveling more and playing more tournaments. Of course, it also depends on, you know, how well you do in each tournament. Yeah. In women's squash, it's easier for you to break the top 100. And also to break the top 50, and right now I'm in the top 30s, and I feel like it will take me about a solid year if I want to break into the top 10s. So that's my first goal to start with.
Best of luck. We feel the enthusiasm and the passion that you have, and wish you the best of luck for that. Let's switch back to Youssif and ask you about Egypt. Also won the 20 Handball African Championship after defeating Tunisia's Club Africain. How important is that, and if you can shed some light also on Egypt's achievement throughout 2015?
Well, this year the Zamalek team won the African Club Championship after beating the African Club of Tunisia. It's always important to have an advantage over the Tunisian team because they're the biggest rivals in Africa. This year in January we're having the African Championships here in Egypt. It's very important because only the winner gets to go to Rio, to the Olympics. So this is very important for us. It's crucial for Egypt to qualify to the Olympics. Handball is probably the second most popular sport in Egypt, and it's very important to always maintain a certain level. Egypt has been qualifying for the Olympics for the past 4 Olympics, as far as I can remember, and losing the tournament here in Egypt in front of our crowds would be heartbreaking, especially this one that leads to the Olympics. So we need to invite all the Egyptian people that we stand by our team. We should be the factor that makes the difference for the Egyptian team starting 22nd of December, inshallah. And so be there.
How does it make you feel that Egypt is going to be hosting the World Championship in around 5 years from now?
Yeah, in 2021 Egypt will be hosting the World Championship. This is a very good achievement on itself rather than playing. It's a very good reputation for Egypt. It's a very good advertisement. It's very good marketing for Egypt. It's crucial at this point of the Egyptian history to try to show the world that Egypt is safe again, that Egypt is ready to host those big events again, and that Egypt will always be a destination that people from all over the world can visit and be safe and have a good time. So hosting such big events will be very helpful to our economy, will be very helpful to the reputation of Egypt, will help us restore our known name around the world.
Yes, I'm looking forward for you and the youth team to be there in the World Championship.
Well, definitely we'll be like 26 by the time, so it will be very appropriate for us to take part in that World Championship. And here in Egypt, it will be like a dream come true for every player.
I think this is a very good strategy and futuristic plan.
Definitely,
that the Federation is
to think ahead that in 5 years we have a World Championship here in Egypt is a huge motive for all the Egyptian players, that they want to join the national team.
So it's a simple five-year plan for...
it's not simple, but it is a 5-year plan.
Of course it is.
And it's a 5 year of hard work for the Egyptian Federation, but we're starting today, we started last year, we're starting tomorrow. And I think we have a very good plan, we have a very solid team, we have a good basis from the youth and the junior teams. So I think Egyptians should expect very good results from the Egyptian team in 2021. And but still, I think the difference will be the crowds, the Egyptian people. They will make the difference for Egypt, as they've always done.
Best of luck to you too, Youssif. Ashraf Youth National Handball Team and Kenzy Defrawy Squash Championship champion. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
And we'll be back after the break, so stay with us.